Two guys, one review, one review. We're back and better than ever, and we're here to talk about a very interesting topic. For beginners and for people that don't know us, I'm going to introduce myself and we'll introduce ourselves one by one. I'm Devin. I'm Brazilian, Irish, and Italian, so I'm a mixture of a lot of mutts. We got Tony. Tony, what are you?
I was born in Guatemala.
Guatemala. And Mo?
I was born in Africa, but I'm Lebanese at the same time, so
Okay.
figure that out.
There we go. Everybody in here is of a certain and designated race. We're here to talk about if race swapping is getting too much. Is it getting too much or is it acceptable? My opinion, I think it's getting a little too much. They're trying to force the narrative a little too hard, and it's kind of it's literally I'm trying to find a word that'd be perfect for this, so it's mind-boggling. It's kind of scary actually, because not only do they race swap, but they make it a battle. They make it something where two different parties are going to fight against each other, and it's almost like they feed off the energy of these people fighting against each other. There's nothing wrong with race swapping if there's actually a narrative, proper storyline, action and consequence, ups and downs, left and right, and if the actual character is something that's deemed worthy for the swap.
Yeah,
Now, if you're forcing the narrative, if you're forcing the narrative, then it just makes that character that got swapped into a political agenda, and the political agenda really doesn't work with certain viewers to an extent, because people can tell whether a product is forced or not. When it comes to me, do I get mad that there's no Brazilian superheroes? No, I really don't give a shit. I don't. I don't care. It's not something that's going to affect my life to the point where I'm going to, log into Twitter and go, God damn it, America, there's no Brazilian superheroes. Wah. There's probably a Brazilian superhero, but I really don't care. I'm not going to look it up. It's not going to affect my day. At the end of the day, I'm a Luke Skywalker fan. Who's Luke Skywalker? He's a white dude with the Force. Darth Vader was a white guy that got burnt to a crisp and lost all his limbs. He's a badass character. Spider-Man. Very badass character. All these characters that fall into the cinematic universe of Marvel or Star Wars are, great integral units of that fantasy universe. Now, if we're talking about, Ariel, and then we're talking about the whole Velma show, and then we're talking about, let's say Rings of Power or, She-Hulk and things like that, there's a lot of political backlash that go into it because it's forced. You force the narrative. You post it on Twitter that the fans ain't shit and the fans are complaining because fans are misogynists or racists or whatever. And that's exactly what trembles the waters of the fan base. And that's what will lose you views in the long run. And that's what's going to make you a running joke when it comes to audience scores. Now, that's my view on it. I have a couple other things that I could touch upon up ahead, but let's see what Tony's view on this is.
I mean, I think the race swapping thing is only becoming an issue in these shows because they're making it all about that. I think if you, let's talk about the Scooby-Doo one. I think if you remade Scooby-Doo and you race swap a couple things and you don't make that what the show is about, you just kind of casually do it. I think people probably enjoy it. I don't think anyone would make a big deal about it. I mean, maybe, there's always going to be some haters on Twitter and all that stuff, but I don't think it would be the end of the world versus making a show and then highlighting we're race swapping Velma and all this stuff. I think that creates controversy. I think it also takes away from the content too. At the end of the day, people are watching the show for the content, for the narrative, for the plot, all this stuff. And it's distracting and it takes away from that stuff too. It seems like the content is becoming worse overall because they're trying to touch on all these issues that are going on.
Yeah, and another thing, you could do it the right way, okay? Let's dive into Ariel, okay? Ariel, you didn't have to race swap. It's not something that was necessary. Yeah, I get it. Little black girls don't have, a Disney princess to look up to. Maybe they do. But you could have started with Ariel singing and then just pan out to the background of a little girl behind some rocks looking at Ariel going, wow, I wish that was me. And then 3 years later, guess what? Ariel's not there anymore. She got out. She has her prince. She's on land. And then it's that girl's chance to pursue her own journey. Mm-hmm. You wrote in an integral part of a character that starts her journey in the sea to become her own princess. You don't have to be given the title of a princess to be one.
Right.
You don't have to be given the title of a man to be one. You don't have to be given the title of a strong female character to be one. It's all based off your storyline and your generic response to things. If your response to things is, oh my God, I can't do it, I won't ever be, guess what? You won't. But if your response is, you know what? If she did it, I can do it better than her, then you can do it. But show the trials and tribulations that girl overcomes. Show her swim into a different part of the ocean. Maybe she's a mermaid from a different clan. Have her go to her clan. Or maybe she's a mermaid that wants to go out there because, she just wants to live a different life. Have her go through that. Have her fight a different force other than Ursula.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or Vilma. Show Scooby-Doo's gang getting kidnapped or going missing, and then another gang of ghost hunters and, ghoul chasers have to go find them. You know what I mean? That would be interesting. Hey, we haven't heard from the Scooby-Doo crew in a while. Let's go look for them. That would be so phenomenal. And you can bring that in the right way. And then, season 2, it's all of them together. And guess what? People would like that. They'd go, wow, what happened to the crew? They went to go chase this sadistic serial killer that dresses like a clown and now they're missing? Or this house was haunted, now no one's hearing from them? Yeah. Sense of urgency. Guess what? You got a Mexican guy, you got a black guy, you got an Asian chick, and maybe you got a Peruvian guy. Or a white guy. It doesn't matter. You have a group and a crew that knew them hand first. Now, if you're race swapping, there's a very, very, very high chance that those fans are going to backlash. One, because they've been watching those shows for years. Two, because if they watched it as a kid, they learned something from that show. They learned to either be brave or to be curious enough to search for the truth. Yeah, or the nostalgia. I loved Scooby-Doo growing up, but I remember when they go to that one island where they're eating the peppers and the zombies were real. Did you watch that movie? Yeah. That movie was really good. Then you have the live action version. There's mixed reviews, but you see where I'm going with this. It's always the cast fits the narrative.
If you just change too much stuff, it changes the
if you change too much, and I get it. You want more identity politics so people feel more included, but give them a chance to create their own narrative. Get a group of diverse people and go, hey, I give you this task. Come up with a group of ghost hunters that are going to look for Scooby-Doo's crew. They'll love to do that. Don't give a group of people that have no experience whatsoever in directing TV shows or story writing to do that, because it's just going to be nonsense.
How do you feel about having them do the race robin thing in remakes instead of just creating new shows?
It's ridiculous. Remakes in general, we've talked about this in the decline of modern cinema. Remakes is the laziest possible thing that you can do on the face of the planet. A remake is me having to study for a thesis and just copying and pasting and putting it there and printing it out and giving it to the teacher. Changing one word. I'm using somebody else's work. Yeah. Use that remake and watch multiple other movies from the same category. Let's say you want to make a zombie movie. Watch multiple zombie movies from way back in the day. Now, take notes on them, and then go, you know what? This is what I would do. This is what my zombie would look like. Or a superhero. My superhero would be this. He'd be addicted to cocaine. Create something that makes that superhero weak but strong at the same time. Something that he has to overcome. Why do you think Breaking Bad was so badass? Because it's original.
Yeah.
It's original. It's a guy with cancer. He's dying. He needs money.
Every show that's popped off, for sure. I think it would be way more beneficial to cinema and society as a whole if they just made new shows and then just have minority characters in them, and that's fine. You don't have to make a big deal of it.
But then you got Rings of Power. Yeah. They really fucked with one of the biggest fan bases on the face of the planet. The Lord of the Rings fan base. Yeah. The Lord of the Rings fan base is massive. Okay, there's literally specialists that delve deep into the works of Tolkien to look into it and go, okay, this is what he meant when he said this. This is where this is based off of. And they actually, their whole lives is them studying this novel or this fantasy universe to, correlate it with certain religions and aspects of real life. Now you got half-foots, you got black elves, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. You could have done that the right way with an original storyline. Instead of basing it in the UK or Europe, base it in fucking Africa. Show what the world of Lord of the Rings looked like in a completely different part of the world. I would love to see that. What did it look like in Africa? You know what I mean? Think of it. What did it look like?
When you change these stories that have already been, years in development, already have movies and stuff out, it just becomes so artificial.
It's Control-C, Control-V. Copy-paste, copy-paste, copy-paste.
feels like they're just trying to change like the message of it, and it's like you can't really do that when you're on like there's been so many sequels of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, because
It's funny, you
originality
can't-
is dead. That's what it is. People are just too consumed. Well, like you said, everyone has a tiny attention span. That's why
Yeah.
TikToks are popping out. Oh, let me watch this dude dancing for 15 seconds.
Right.
How about you actually pick up a book and read it for like 5 hours? Gain some intellect, gain some different level of imagination, become a master of jujitsu when it comes to creating a storyline, and create something 100% original. I watched the movie Smile the other day, and I gotta say, I haven't watched a good horror movie in a long time, but that one blew my mind. That one was, to me, that was a good horror movie. Me and my girlfriend jumped a couple times. You know, it had a good storyline, it had a good basis, but things like that, you know what I
You can
mean?
walk away and be like, oh, that was a good movie. Versus like if I see like the 8th remake of whatever it is, and now it's gotten to the point where they're just changing the characters. And stuff.
Dude, or
It's
when the
like,
first
yeah.
Insidious came out. When the first Insidious came out,
yeah,
I
that was
remember that.
good,
That
yeah.
that was
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, that was good.
I was frightened for days, nights. I couldn't even, turn off my light at a point.
Right.
And that was the movie to watch with some girls, bro. You'd bring some girls to your house, you'd sit down and watch that, they'd be scared. They'd be all over you.
Imagine that was PG-13.
Yeah.
Christ, and that was that scary.
And there's nothing wrong with obviously inclusivity and
Yeah.
equality and stuff. Like we're all minorities here, and it's like fine. But it's like when it takes away from the content, and it's like that becomes the story of it. It's like,
All right, let me state a couple of things
yeah, I
here.
don't know.
So, first thing, like I said, I'm Lebanese, so I have Arab in me, born in Africa, speak African, eat Lebanese. I'm the full enchilada. Lived in Boston all my life. Lived in America all my life. Fucking, what? I came here when I was 4 years old. I'm 38 years old right now. So, trust me, I've seen things, I know everything about American, television, Hollywood, Bollywood, whatever the hell you want. You can talk to me about it, and I know it. First things first. You want to talk about trying to make a movie that satisfies different races and genders and whatnot? Okay, so let's start with this one. Why did no one complain about who they casted for Ra's al Ghul for the Batman trilogy? Or the Batman anything? Any of the Batman shows, they did it for Arrow, Ra's al Ghul was in it. Ra's al Ghul. Raz means head, al is the, Ghul is serpent. That's Arabic. So if they wanted to cast the right person, I'm pretty sure there's a million Arabs out there that could have acted that part. But you know what? I didn't give a shit. You know why? I cared about the quality of the freaking movie, not who the fuck was casted. Aladdin, they casted an Arab guy, but the princess was the girl from Power Rangers, the new Power Rangers movie,
You're talking about the live action, right?
the live action Power Rangers movie. Neither did I give a fuck about that. No one really gave a fuck. I heard some stupid little talks online that, oh, why did they cast her or whatever? They should have casted an Arab girl or whatever. But you know what? That was such a slim amount of people. I know for a fact all the Arab people that I'm friends with did not give two shits about that, really, honestly. So I don't understand where, okay, so you're willing to sacrifice and destroy storylines for certain other races, but other races that also do deserve the same exact kind of, let's say, level of respect, where the character is 1,000% that race. It had nothing to do. Ariel was a white girl. You want to make her black. That's fine. Go for it. Do it. Destroy your own image. Destroy your own storyline. But if you want to actually do the stories the right way, if a guy is an Arab, you bring Arabs into the story. If a character's Chinese, you bring a Chinese character into a storyline. If the you know what I mean? Like keep it original. But you guys but it's just terrible writing, and they're acting like they're trying to please people, but they're not pleasing anyone. They're just aggravating true fans and losing what Hollywood or what American TV production is known to be. Simple as that.
So let's wrap this up by just quickly addressing how our main point here is not that race swapping is the issue in this decline of modern cinema era that we are currently in. Race swapping has existed in films since the beginning of films to varying degrees of success. The issue nowadays that we would like to get into more is how, directors, producers, writers, all these production companies are basically using race swapping kind of as a cop-out to justify, rebooting, remaking movies that have been around since the dawn of time and trying to sell them as something that's completely new. And really, all you end up with when you do this is angry fan bases and movies that don't perform well. And I'll speak on this briefly because we have a whole other video dedicated to it. Make sure you check it out, by the way. It's Decline of Modern Cinema, Two Guys, One Review, where these production companies, people that are releasing the videos themselves and all this stuff, are mainly doing this for two reasons. One, it's because they're lazy. They're very lazy. Two, it's already proven that these things can sell. Why would you, pay a bunch of writers and people involved in making movies to create a whole new concept basically on a gamble that it's going to pay off and you're going to get your budget back and, get a profit once the movie does a theatrical release? It's a big gamble. Same thing with books and all of that. So combine that with lack of originality and the monetary factors, it makes sense why people are doing this. The problem is it's getting worse. Race swapping, gender swapping, those kind of things have existed in film for years and years and years. There are plenty of roles in, mainstream movies that have been race swapped, gender swapped throughout time that no one has really batted an eye to. Mo alluded on it a little bit with the Ra's al Ghul thing. Very low-key. I didn't even know that. There's other roles in superhero movies as well. Let's take, Daredevil, for instance. The Kingpin. Michael Clark Duncan did a great job. Probably one of the only good things from that movie. No one seemed to bring that up other than what a good job he did. Didn't take away from the movie. The movie itself didn't do that well, but he didn't take anything away from it by doing that, and it wasn't the highlight of the movie. They didn't try to sell it as that when they were putting posters in theaters or, they were running trailers and stuff, and I think it worked out. So after hearing all this, all these arguments and such of, why race swapping is getting to be a bit too much in terms of the decline of modern cinema and how they're using it as a tool to kind of, forward that decline process, what should these movie producers be doing to resolve this and to get better products out there for consumers to watch? Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Are we, completely nuts here, or is this something that we're actually seeing and is affecting, the movies and TV shows we all love? Let us know down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. This has been Two Guys, One Review. Thanks.